we're back with another episode. A little late because everything just sort of stopped working, but we're good now. And I have the chat back compared to last week. Turns out I had to tick like a box somewhere. Anyway, hello, welcome to another Thursday, during which we read Rose Guns Days, and today we are continuing season 3. After starting it last week. Hello, cat. I hope you're all doing well. I'm doing all right. Just starting up the game. You forgot it was Thursday, and yet here you are. You lost a date somewhere? Oh no. I hate when that happens. Oh, well, I'm glad that my audio completely cutting out was valuable to you, because, oh boy, it just stopped working. I was like at 100 volume, and I could barely hear anything, just out of nowhere. And I hit the troubleshoot thing, and just as a, you know, it's like flipping a coin. You never. Sometimes it works, maybe. So I tried it, and it was like, Windows has fixed the problem. And it did. This has never happened to me at any point in my entire life, actually, where it was just like, okay, we're done. We fixed it for you. But no, that did actually fix it for me. So I don't know what happened, which is actually the worst part of all this, because this could happen again. I don't know what caused this. It could happen any moment. My audio is now a landmine. So that's fun. Because it said it fixed it. It did not say how. So. Technology. Great. Useful. Love it. What? Okay, that sounds like a graphics card issue, actually. But yeah, that's wild. I had a similar thing when my graphics card was dying. Or maybe it was the motherboard, or maybe it was something else. I never actually found out. Because the whole thing just well, got replaced. It just got replaced. And then the next one died randomly. And that one, yeah, it just died. I don't know what happened. Anyway, if he's got a 4090 and that is dying, that's sad and kind of funny. A little bit. But only a little bit. Only a little bit. Anyway. We are here today to get a little further into the story. Because I've been doing this for like a year at this point. And we're only halfway through. I think it's been more than a year. So yeah, no, it's time to get the show back on the road for realsies this time. And actually dive into season 3. And to do that, I must first start you off with a content warning. Because Rose Guns Days, in case you didn't know, but also like, why are you here if, you know, if this is season 3, I can't get you caught up anymore. Maybe watch the VODs, you know. Still, if you are unaware, or if you need a refresher, Rose Guns Days contains violence, gun violence, racism, sexual content including references to assault, misogyny, alcohol abuse, and characters being traumatized, depressed, and a variety of other mental health issues. Dealing with those, not being them, because that's not grammar. If I once I finish reading today's episode and upload this to YouTube, I will add more detailed content warnings to the episode when I upload it, to the description if necessary. If there's nothing there, then you're good, then this covers it. But if you want a more detailed warning, check the description on YouTube. Okay. And then our recap, because last week was quite a lot. Including how do I sentence this? Okay, let me just set the scene here for you. I wrote down my notes last time immediately after finishing. And it says, in all caps, at the very top, Old Man Wayne reveal. Because, yeah, we know what Wayne looks like now that he's old. He didn't magically become old. This is him in the future, of course, where he's talking to Jean and Julie. And in fact, Jean is like, well, you were there for all this. Really, you should be telling the story and not me. So we're getting the story from his perspective now. Except we start with Meiju, whose honorary brother, Wang, shows up. He's jovial and upbeat, but also low-key menacing. Like, he seems like a happy joy kind of guy, but it also seems like it's an act, or like it's a mask that he puts on. He does feign ignorance of the incident with the backdoor employment agency, basically saying like, oh, well, it was my underlings, I didn't know that was going on. Even though I was, his direct underling, so either you fucked up in steering your underlings along, or you were involved in this. So we've got that guy to deal with now. The soy sauce that Rose managed to get distributed, or at least, got the plans to get soy sauce distributed moving. That starts getting distributed for realsies. Primavera, everyone in the club is happy, they're celebrating. And the wandering dogs are sent out to go scoping for trouble. To make sure that this all goes smoothly. However, they notice that the amounts of soy sauce being sold are extremely low, even with the low quantity that, was it Satomi? Am I making that up? No, I'm not. The low quantity that Satomi has promised, it seems like it will be more than what is actually being sold right now. Which makes them think that maybe someone somewhere is embezzling some of this stuff, Zell, however, doesn't join the other three in investigating this, because she isn't feeling well. It takes some prodding from the other three to actually get her to drop out. But eventually she relents. The other three manage to track down a warehouse. They're getting really good at this. They manage to track down a warehouse where soy sauce might be stored. And all of them at once locate a huge pile of boxes labeled olive oil, and they all go, yeah, I think this is where it's being hidden. And they're correct. At that point, the actual perpetrators of this walk in, the kids hide, and listen on the plan. Excuse me. They listen on their plans. Wang is also there. The plan is to deliberately keep soy sauce off the market and sell it for high prices to rich folks, specifically to cause trouble for Primavera. Wang states that in his new era, war is waged in a different way, and this is the most effective way to deal with them. So like through rumors, through public pressure, like social stuff, rather than violence. So it's kind of like politics in a way, just like the underworld version of politics, I guess. And that's kind of where we left off. Which is this one. I do believe at this point the kids have left the warehouse, so they're not in imminent danger, I don't think. But I could be wrong. The expressions on their faces grew more and more rigid. There were no more playful smiles like prankster children might wear. However, even so, there was a faint trace of a smile on their faces. Zell's sure gonna be shocked when she hears what we've done all by ourselves. The Wandering Dogs are a 4-person group. Even if Zell isn't here, it's still her accomplishment as well.
Got that right. We're the Wandering Dogs. We're alive because we've got Zell.
Oliver and Charles both nodded. Their faces relaxed unconsciously as they hoped to hear Zell's praise in the near future. Oh, I really should have just kept going for like 3 more sentences. Player rank. They took my gun. There was definitely a gun in there, wasn't there last time? There was a gun in there. I'm fairly certain there was a gun in there. Oh my god. Took my gun. I don't know if that's better or worse. Is this good? Is this bad? It feels like it's bad because there's less now, but maybe it's good. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. I also made myself way bigger than I usually do. Should be a little better. I don't want to cover anything up. Huh. Can't believe they took my gun. Suitably sized. Good, thank you. It's really cheap, and the real thing. If you buy in bulk, we've got even more discounts. What are you talking about? You're joking. I was the one who invented it. Come on in, come on in. Hey there, Japanese. We have lots of good stuff. Japanese dollars welcome. Money exchange welcome. Super welcome. Ooh. I'd be happy to quit a place like this. Why should I be forced to work for half the wage of a Japanese man when they lost the war? Chinatown was filled with the usual din. They may have sounded like rough yells to a Japanese person, but it also made it clear how tough people from foreign lands were. The toughness needed to turn a foreign land into one's homeland. Perhaps that was the source of the strength of the Chinese. Against that traffic, which resembled a torrent of energy, walked a small, frail girl with a hood pulled far over her head. She sometimes bumped into people with her shoulder and staggered. The face of that girl, who resembled a leaf being tossed about a muddy river, looked feeble. The hooded girl was Zell. She wasn't in the bed of a quiet music shop, but here, in the middle of Chinatown's bustling streets. It wasn't bright or cold enough to warrant wearing a hood so far over her head. Zell glanced around her, then entered an alleyway. The kindly old Chinese woman warned her that it was dangerous for a young woman to walk in a place like that. However, Zell just nodded vaguely back to her before disappearing into the alley. Oh. Zell speaking Chinese. In this desolate, filthy alley, where no one could be seen, Zell muttered something in Chinese. Then, there was a creaking sound from above, and a girl came falling down. Who replies in Chinese? I guess that saves me the trouble of having to come up with a voice for him. Because she hasn't said anything yet. In English. Are they not gonna tell us what this means? Zell begged for something, feebly. Xiaonan nodded, signaled for Zell to follow, and spun around. Zell followed like a girl who had gotten lost. Damn, okay. They're just not gonna tell us. I guess it's my own fault for not learning Chinese, but yeah. Great. You've done some good work. After examining the photo and the evidence of the soy sauce bottle, Wayne patted Oliver on the shoulder. Apparently, he was doing his best to reward his underlings, since Richard had made a point of telling him to. As though feeling it was wrong to reward only Oliver, he went on to pat Charles and Nina on the shoulder in exactly the same way. Yeah, because a shoulder pat, you know, that's a reward. Sure. I guess these kids it probably would be. Even the consigliere had high praise for you. He even said he wanted to recommend you to be Madame Rose's guards.
Whoa, that's such an honor. I mean, that's way too...
Really, Aniki Wayne? The consigliere really said that? The consigliere said it, not me. Being Madame Rose's guards would put you on the same level as me. I can't imagine that we've managed to reach your level yet, Wayne-san. However, I want you to be able to acknowledge us as adults someday. It's a good look on your face. Here it goes again. I see a wolf's ambition to move up in the world, but neither the impatience nor discomposure of a lost dog. Those are two different animals, Wayne. I mean, I guess that's his point, but you're mixing your metaphors again. I imagine the day will come when you all and I stand side by side.
We'll definitely stay focused.
Me too. I'll work harder and harder. Don't forget to keep your skills honed. Don't be afraid to fight for your comrades. Oh, that's right. I hear Zell isn't feeling well. Use this to get her something good to eat. She didn't grow up in the alleys. Unlike us, she can't keep her spirits up without nutrition in her diet. She doesn't know where she grew her up, Wayne. You don't know that. What? Did you forget that she doesn't remember anything? Thank you very much, Wayne-san.
Let's go buy Zell some Nikuman. A whole mountain of it. I know she'll love that. You're the only one who'd really love that, Charlesy. Let's get some good veggies and make her some porridge.
That sounds good. After all, it seems fortune flies from those who eat poorly. That's been clear to me ever since we started eating good, thanks to Zell.
About Zell, though. Feels to me that it's more energy and fortune she's missing instead of nutrition.
Charles, where do you think energy comes from?
It's like the opposite of fortune comes to those who smile. Poor girl. If we all eat delicious stuff and have a blast, I'm sure she'll get her energy back. And her fortune too. If you put it that way, sounds like porridge just wouldn't cut it.
My. Might not be so bad to have a It might not be so bad to have a Nikuman party every now and then.
Let's buy all kinds of yummy grub. If the four of us throw a party tonight, I'm sure Zell will be back in high spirits in no time.
With the exception of City 1, the 23 independent cities of the Tokyo metropolis were administered by either the Americans or the Chinese. The occupying forces in charge of those cities tried to accommodate the citizens of their own countries while encouraging immigration into Japan. In all eras, colonies can't be established merely by occupying troops. It's made possible by the massive immigration of ordinary townspeople. Though later on, some wise person would realize a country could be occupied without a war, merely by sending over immigrants. To America, the Japanese islands were the breakwater preventing China's advance into the Pacific Ocean. Already wary of a possible American-Chinese Cold War, they were using the Japanese islands as a dagger poised at China's throat. Of course, to the Chinese, this was the doorway into the Pacific. However, it was more than just that. Their population was continuing to expand explosively. The impoverished people of the mainland, weary after the long seconds... How do you pronounce that again? We had this discussion once, but that was a while ago. Sino? Just gonna sit here for confirmation. You say it like that. Well, I'm gonna trust. The long second Sino-Japanese War were searching for a new place to immigrate to. Just a reminder that English is not actually my first language. And I base everything exclusively on how I hear other people say things. And that's it. That's my only source. So if I've never heard a word pronounced before, I'm like, huh? Not sure what to do now. It works for me, but it sometimes trips me up super hard. So it does. Today is not a good day for talking. But yeah, it trips me up sometimes. That's okay. So, both the Americans and the Chinese encouraged immigration into Japan. But there was a clear difference in their results. After all, for America, It was merely a strategic immigration for military purposes. They enticed their poor with the prospect of a new frontier, trying to rope them in with the prospect of financial support and employment, but it hadn't gone well. After all the wartime propaganda labeling Asians as barbarous and brutal, hardly any of them wanted to go to such a barbarous and brutal country. For those people who lived in a country where vegetables were grown with chemical fertilizer, it must have seemed unbearably unsanitary to move to a country where they still ate organic vegetables made with human waste as fertilizer. There was also a huge gap between Western and Eastern culture. To Americans, this mysterious island chain on the other side of the world seemed simply creepy. Compared to that, the Chinese, who historically had far more cultural interaction with Japan, found the hurdle to immigration to be much lower. In particular, they realized more than anyone else that the chaos following the war would be simply filled with business opportunities. For farmers who lost their farmland in the war, simply being able to make that long sought after move to urban life was enticing enough. As a result, immigrants from China had flowed into the 11 cities under Chinese jurisdiction, and Chinatown began to rapidly swallow the city. The American army was only barely able to support itself by absorbing the Japanese who had been pushed out of the Chinese cities. America was apparently trying to gain Japanese support by providing gracious public assistance to the Japanese. However, since the Japanese took what they were given without giving much thought as to who gave it, the Americans would probably run out of patience before too long. City 22. Formerly, the Katsushika district. The district occupied by the Chinese army. It shared a border with City 23 on its southern tip, and it boasted a large population since before the war, as Tokyo's shopping district. No statistics were taken at the time, but a moderate estimate put it at 400,000 people, with 60% of those already Chinese. Every part of the city had become a Chinatown, with colonies of Japanese living inside. In other words, the GDS represented City 22's Chinatown. It was, in effect, representing City 22. In comparison, Primavera was merely a force representing a Japanese colony inside City 23. The GDS was a powerful force that couldn't really be compared with Primavera. There was a certain fancy restaurant with a massive illuminated golden dragon billboard. Locals could tell you at a glance that it belonged to the Golden Dragon Society. A restaurant offering superb meals to delight a select few was, of course, merely its public face. Below it were several hidden rooms connected by underground passageways, forming a separate world, like the lair of a massive dragon sleeping beneath the earth. There were only two kinds of people who could set foot in this separate world. The first sort were members and allies of the GDS. They would be able to see the light of day again. People who fell into the second category would never see the light of day after being brought down here. The place was filled with all sorts of unidentifiable smells. Various ducts and pipes ran through it, mixing the smells from some kitchen with the moldy stink of an AC unit, all the way down to the aromas of the sewer system. Rumor had it that one could use these underground tunnels to cross City 22's Chinatown without ever walking on the surface. Sorry, I just got a message saying that something disconnected. Allow me to just, What do you mean I've been logged out? I'm still here, that's good. Something just randomly logged me out of the thing that shows the chat on screen. Right when the tension narratively was building up too. Typical. Yeah, I think the app just broke. Oh well. Yeah, we're just gonna have to deal with it. The complicated, interweaving passages had become a practical maze, and it was whispered that no person, even in the GDS, knew about all of them. Surely, the name Demon's Den was fitting for a place like this. And deep in this Demon's Den was Zell. Around her was not only Xiaolong, but several GDS men as well. There were even some men dressed as waiters, totally out of place in this cluttered underground lair. They carried delivery boxes packed with food and followed behind the GDS men. On Zell's wrists, one could see handcuffs. Eventually, they reached the certain door and stopped. The man in front took a key from his pocket and stuck it into the lock on the door.
Huh. What is it? Sleeve. There's dust on it.
Zell had probably brushed her sleeve up against some dirty wall. Her sleeve seemed to have dust sticking to it. Xiaolong patted it and knocked the dust off.
Thanks. I don't deserve to be thanked by you.
She spoke in a small, hoarse voice that only Zell could hear. Because of a high fever she'd suffered when she was young, Xiaolong couldn't speak very well. If she tried hard, she could whisper quietly, but it apparently made her start to choke when she tried. So she usually communicated her emotions through her behavior. At that time, there was a clink, and the door was unlocked. Though the door opened with a deep sound like a prison, inside was a surprisingly beautiful room. The area outside the window was almost too bright with electric lighting, and it made it feel as though the room was above ground. This fancy private room, with its intricate Chinese design, might have been one of the hideouts owned by GDS bosses. However, judging by the fact that it could be locked from the outside, maybe it was a prison after all. Also, the thin man inside the room was wearing handcuffs, just like Zell.
Father.
Zell ran up to her father and leapt into his chest. Hotaru, I'm so glad you're safe.
I'm so sorry about last month. Were you worried?
This past month, there hasn't been a day when I've failed to pray for your safety. The man was Zell's father, and the father had called Zell Hotaru. Hotaru. It was Zell's real name. The two of them held each other tight, reassuring each other of their safety for a 2-month gap. Off to the side, the waiters laid out the magnificent meal for two they had brought in. In that case, if you'll excuse us. Hotarugi-san. Feel free to enjoy some time with your father alone.
Thank you very much.
The GDS is very grateful for your work. As a sign of our gratitude, we promise to keep your father safe from the authorities.
I'm grateful.
In that case, we'll take our leave. We'll come to take you back when it's time. As a sign of our friendship, we won't be so rude as to leave a guard. After all, we care more for justice and humanity than the law. After saying that, they removed the 2 pairs of handcuffs and left the room.
Is there anything else you want? Right now, I want some time alone with my father. Okay.
Xiaolan nodded, and then she left the room too. The heavy door closed, and they could hear the lock being set once again. For a while, until the others came back. This would become a family room, where Zell and her father alone. Once the footsteps faded away, the father forcefully pushed Zell away as she hugged him. Then, he hit her on the forehead with his palm.
You fool! Father, why did you leave me behind and escape? I can't. I can't abandon you, Father. Last month, when I heard you didn't come, I thought you were finally free. But everyone's dead, right? Mother and Big Sis and my little brothers. All of them are dead, right? If I lost you too, I couldn't live on. This daughter of mine. How long will it take before you stop clinging to your parents? Why can't you put yourself first? Why can't you understand how your father feels? Did you think there's a father anywhere in this world who'd want to survive by having his daughter sell her body? It's okay. The people with the GDS don't do that sort of thing. They just make me act the spy now and then. It happens all the time. It's easy. If they're forcing you to do something you don't want, it's the same as selling your body. Listen to me. Starting tonight, you are going to forget your father. You mustn't ever come here again. When I do that, you'll be killed. I can't trust anyone except you. If you die, I won't be able to live on. Zell's eyes filled with tears. She dove into her father's chest again. Even her father couldn't bear to be harsh. You fool. You fool. Why must you continue to torment your father, who's incapable even of ending his own life? If you commit suicide, consider your daughter to be dead. That was how he had been threatened. The daughter had also been threatened that her father will be killed if she rebelled. From over Zell's shoulder, he could see her feeble back quiver as she cried, and also her neck. He held her head and with shivering hands, stroked the long, long hair that covered her back. His hands gently pushed through her hair and touched the nape of her neck. In that place was a small tattoo. A small butterfly tattoo, put there to show who owned her, and to remind Zell of that all eternity. He moved his hands as though trying to scratch it off, hugging his daughter even more tightly. Forgive me, Hotaru. I hate myself for being so spineless. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. Father, don't die. Don't die. Live. I'll be just fine. No matter what they do to me, I'll be fine. As long as you're alive, I'll survive no matter what they do. So please, Father, don't say anything so sad. The sorrowful sobbing of father and daughter continued on and on. Even Xiaolong, who waited alone at the other end of the corridor, could hear. It didn't take knowledge of Japanese to tell how those two felt. I think this is a good time to save, as Babe cashed in his save reminder earlier on. Nope. There, I saved twice for good measure. Thank you for the reminders. Because as you can tell from this page, I don't do it unless I'm reminded. As we all know. I mean, she might still be Chinese, we don't know that, really. Wait, I mean, or like part at least, right? Because her name obviously, Hotaru, is Japanese. And they're speaking in Japanese, but I think the theory was that the kids had was that she might be, because she's bilingual, she might be part Japanese and part Chinese. So she could be both, because I don't know. How else would she learn, you know? But we don't know. We're gonna have to wait to find out, I think. But man, I was ready to feel kind of betrayed about the spying stuff, but no, I'm just sad. Because obviously she doesn't have any choice, other choice. She doesn't have any other choice. But yeah, no, that sucks. Wow. Yeah, honestly, I'll be honest, I did not see this coming. Initially, I thought, oh, she was sent to spy on them, and then I kind of completely forgot that I ever thought that. And I was like, well, I mean, she seems nice and friendly, and she's helping them, so how could she be, you know? She's obviously on their side. Never considered that maybe there was something more to it. At least once we got to know her. I actually thought she legit lost her memory, but it seems that that was an act. Or maybe, I guess it is possible that she actually forgot and only recently remembered and realized, oh shit, I have to go and tell the people who kidnapped my dad all of the stuff that I know now. Because otherwise they'll kill him, you know? It's also possible. That would explain the sudden mood change, right? Because until now, she was helping out,
happily, everything was fine, and then suddenly her mood shifts. But kinda, maybe implies that she suddenly regained her memory somehow. And that's the reason that she wasn't feeling well, she was really down. It's because she suddenly remembered, oh wait, these are technically my enemies and I have to spy on them. Yeah, she would have to be one hell of an actress to be faking it the whole time. But maybe she is, I don't know. I suddenly don't know. Yeah, at the same time, it could also be that maybe they're like... Because she noticed Shallan spying on her, right? Maybe that was either like the trigger for a memory, or... Well, no, because they've had an interaction before that was fine then. But I don't know, maybe they had an off-screen conversation and it was like, you need to tell us more information, or else... And then she realized, oh shit, I like these people now though. I could think of a bunch of reasons that her mood would shift without it being related to her memory. So, there's a lot of ways this can go. But, yeah, ow. That was sad. And I'm gonna... Whoops. It's a free bonus save for you. Yeah, I definitely did not think that would be the case. I actually thought that she was about to be arrested by the GDS. Did not think they would take her down to see someone. But then there have been zero clues that she has any family anywhere, so... How are we to know? You know? We weren't. We weren't to know. It was kind of almost nice that they just let her in and were like, okay, we'll take off the handcuffs and we'll be back later and we'll give you privacy and stuff. I guess. So it could be worse, but... I mean, they were under threat the whole time, obviously, and... As the narrative said, you know, people who go here, they don't come out, so, They mentioned they had value, so they must be decent. You're right. That's how that works. Anyway, here's a bad merchant screaming. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I couldn't go against the GDS. Oh, James is back. I forgot which voice I gave this man. Why didn't you come and talk to me about it? And after I've looked after you for so long. That saddens me. What a shame. Please don't kill me. There was nothing I could do. The person surrounded by tough-looking men and groveling for his life was the distribution company president who had hidden soy sauce in that storehouse. He had entrusted the financial backing of his business to Rich Bamboo, which was led by James Tomitake. In this incident, he had betrayed them. James was the most mild of Primavera's bosses. If it had been anyone else, there would surely be a smoking hole in the president's forehead by now. Boss. The Grand Boss and Consigliere have arrived. Hey there, James. You haven't killed him yet, have you? No, that's a cruel way to start a conversation. I don't kill. I just see to it that problems
never existed in the first place.
Greetings, James. My thanks for securing him so quickly.
Okay then. You there, President Guy. You know where You know where You know where we are?
Of course I do.
Everyone in the city knows Primavera's grand boss and consigliere. That's good. Looks like we don't have to exchange business cards. Now, the soy sauce we're talking about here is more than just a little seasoning. Madame Rose brought it back with her for her country. Your businessmen were entrusted with the job of selling it fairly to the city folk, right? You've tarnished the name of Primavera, Madame Rose, and me. Well, I imagine even you aren't planning to go home with all your limbs.
That's impossible. I have a family. Forgive me. I mean, please forgive me. Of course, we did take the possibility of such a situation into account. But even so, this is truly displeasing. It seems a firm judgment will be necessary if we are to suppress those who measure for the good of their countrymen against personal profit. The sin of betraying Rose's ideals is a deep one. You must prepare yourself.
I won't do anything like this again, so please forgive me. I'll never disobey Primavera again. Well now, Richard, let's not get ahead of ourselves. We'll move to a different room. It's not fair to reach a decision before the defense attorney's had his say.
Defense attorney? Who would defend this man?
After Cyrus shrugged, James did the same and smiled vaguely.
What do you mean, what is Cyrus putting in that tea?
The three of them moved into the members' room and sat down on a sofa.
So, let's hear the claims of the defense. By my judgment, this is embezzlement on a scale that we can't afford to overlook. It's hard to forgive someone knowingly making such a deal, particularly with the GDS.
Oh, right. Yeah, it's... I don't know what he's been putting in there, but it's wacky. So, that's what the prosecute... See? There's something in there. That's what the prosecution says. How about the defense? James, why have you decided that there's no need to kill that guy? I have a very simple reason. He's a big fish in the world of Japanese logistics. If we kill him, we'll have no one to replace him with.
Is there no other merchant with a good business sense who might replace him?
There's more to logistics than just transporting goods. It's about where you purchase and how you split it up between shops. All of that has to be dealt with. We use a human being as a metaphor. Logistics would be the heart. It's the driving force that circulates the blood of commodities throughout the entire body. Are you saying that some guy's incredible big shot businessman? Oh. Are you saying that guy is some incredible big shot businessman who controls the realm of logistics in our City 23? Simply put, that's more or less it. If we lose him, our countrymen running businesses on the ends of the web will suffocate. There's no doubt he's a minor villain. It's not rare for him to grab a little for himself on the side. And he does threaten those in the same business. He's united City 23 logistics businessmen through dishonorable methods. However, methods aren't the problem.
What's important is that his strong arm brought the businessmen together.
If we lose that strong arm, those businessmen will break to pieces.
If the strong arm disappears, the reaction will probably be big. I can't deny that. When businessmen work at larger and larger scales, the quality of goods they get to deal in goes up. That's a lesson I learned well when Rose announced she'd be using weak Japanese businessmen to purchase supplies for that dance party.
And no doubt he's not a man worthy of respect. However, for that reason, he was under our control, and he managed to bring merchants together in record time. Simply put, if we lose him, it will put Japanese businessmen at a severe financial disadvantage in their business dealings.
And of course, that will eventually have an effect on the lifestyles of all our countrymen.
If Primavera wants to claim that his primary goal is the protection of its countrymen's lifestyles, then we shouldn't dispose of him.
So, you think we should let the traitor go with a full acquittal?
That's not gonna happen. We won't kill him, but we'll make sure he pays a heavy penalty, right?
Please leave that to me. I'll make it very clear to him that this will never happen again. And of course, I'll use methods that even an extremely forgetful man will always remember.
James spoke of a man's life as though it was a coin placed on a roulette table.
Of course, his eyes were cold enough to freeze you solid, and there could be no doubt that he was a resident of the criminal underworld. Very well. However, we are speaking only of the time until you find a replacement.
Of course. When that happens, I plan to hold a quiet retirement ceremony for him. Scary. Well, that's what you get for being a traitor. You know that won't come cheap. Still, there's no way the guy didn't know about this. He knew full well how terrifying the underworld is, and he still couldn't bring himself to refuse the GDS's deal. In my mind, that's the real problem.
As a result of their questioning, they discovered that the GDS had approached the president in this incident of embezzlement. Was a tricky sentence. They discovered that the GDS had approached the president in this incident of embezzlement. Of course, if he had refused, he might have had the GDS on his tail. However, Primavera was supposed to be there to provide backing in such a situation. He put us and the GDS on a scale and decided that it was more profitable to betray Primavera than to anger the GDS. In other words, by his measure, confidence in us is less important than GDS threats.
It's a problem if people think we can't be relied on.
The Mafia has power because people think they have enough force to be feared. However, if there isn't enough of a reason to fear them, not only would they lose respect, but no one would keep their promises with them.
You hear a lot of terrifying things about the GDS. They were the cause of countless bloody incidents during the fight to dominate City 22.
And some of those even happened in City 23's Chinatown. I imagine many people here have heard of the horror of the GDS.
So, if we turn it around, the next question is, what about us?
At the moment, we've rejected the tyrant Father Caleb and raised our flag as a philanthropic group dedicated to their countrymen. A mafia of justice, if you will. All of our crews understand Madame Rose's ideals and try to avoid dirty tricks that would sully her name.
I see. So, just as in money lending, you're done for once they start taking you lightly. Ever since that legendary night, the city's been peaceful. We're the Momotaros of Justice, who vanquished the demon Caleb. When you walk through the city, the people praise the madam, treating us like saviors who freed the city from Caleb's tyranny. By now, you've even got brats in parks swinging around toy pistols saying they want to join Primavera. So, while they do respect us, they aren't in awe of us. Once they start taking you lightly, you're done for. This case proves that Primavera is merely respected, but not thought of as being reliable. For a while, the three fell silent. They had believed themselves to be throwing their lives into a just battle for Madame Rose's ideals. However, in the process, had they lost a certain sort of power needed to protect the city folk? There's no problem with having Madame Rose as a symbolic saint. But on the other hand, those of us who gather around her have to be brutal champions of weaponry. In the same way that the legendary knight united the underworld of City 23. Perhaps we need a new legendary knight to win the acknowledgement of the people. Primavera was thought of as a charitable organization. Because of that, when the GDS showed up with the power of violence, Primavera wasn't trusted as a force that could respond to their advance. So, the president in this case had quickly folded to the GDS. Primavera still hadn't earned the city folks' confidence as the conquerors of the underworld. To gain that, they would have to display the power of Primavera's violence to the city folk. In other words, it meant a feud. They needed a symbol of fear to let people know that terrible things awaited those who went against Primavera. Of course, committing acts of violence against the city folk was out of the question. Rose wouldn't allow it. In that case, their only possible target was the GDS. Since the GDS had taken a shot at Primavera's turf, they would have to settle this matter with bullets. So, a repeat of the legendary night. This is the second time after the backdoor employment agency. It seems we have no choice except to lay down some powerful cards against the GDS. We can talk about doing all kinds of terrible stuff. The problem's whether we can convince Rose or not. I imagine Rose will understand. After all, she was able to take up a gun to defeat Caleb. I mean, Caleb's still alive, so I don't know about that, man. So, prepare for war, huh? Begin it. Chinatown should recognize our intent before long. That alone should prove to be a card we can use against them. Understood. I'll order the bosses to start preparing. Be very sure that everyone knows the difference between preparing and war. Of course. But I'll make sure they're on their guards. We've got to show them that this ain't no charity we're running here. We protect our countrymen from our position in the underworld. From the moment we made that decision, we could not have avoided this path. It will probably take time to convince Rose, but I'm positive that she will understand eventually. Oh, you better not be making moves without telling her, though. I don't think she's gonna like that. I don't think... It's a very Richard play, you're totally right.
believe not the first time he's done something like this either, but last time, efforts kinda went unnoticed because other stuff happened to interfere. Like enforce their hand. Ish. So, on accident, he didn't actually execute his plan? But this time, probably gonna be different. And I bet Zell's gonna get in trouble. Calling it now. And it's gonna make a lot of people real mad. Yeah, it's very easy for Richard to be like, alright, you go and deal with this and go do big, scary, violent things, because he doesn't have to do any of it himself. That's Richard for... Man, my mouth is not doing, like, the things that it should be today. Like, it's... mentally, I'm like, okay, this is how you say word. And then something else comes out. I'm getting annoyed at myself. I also have 3 keyboard languages installed all of a sudden for no reason. That's weird. I only had 1, and now there's 3. This is a random aside, sorry about that. Yeah, I guess economic violence is definitely can count as a form of violence. And ideally, this would be more of a like a propaganda war instead of people bringing out the guns. But it seems like maybe it's gonna be guns in the end. Yeah, Wong seems like he would do the violence himself if he really had to. And he does seem to have less qualms about it. That's the vibe I get. But he was like, oh, well, we don't need violence for this kind of war. Meanwhile, Richard's like, yo, pull out the guns. So at this point, I'm not sure who's more dangerous. I don't know. Richard seems to be kind of going down a dark path, you know? Yeah, he's just moving chess pieces around. And the chess pieces are like, yo, violence. It's very violent chess. But all of it's through proxies, so, you know. He doesn't have to do anything himself, and I feel like that probably makes it easier to make those choices, right? He's also constantly saying like, oh, Rose will understand eventually, but we know Rose, maybe she'll understand, yes, but not if you go ahead and do it without running it by her at first, and you know, she's very stubborn too. I think he's underestimating her a bit. Also interesting point, like, he's actively going against her ideals in order to protect her ideals in a way. Yeah. Which is, a contradiction, a big one. So his confidence in that, thinking that she's going to be fine with it, is really interesting. Because I'm not sure I buy it. I don't know where he gets, or where he gets it from, like... Oh, well, she pulled a gun on Caleb, and yeah, okay, but Caleb's running a bar now, okay? He's a bartender. It's not like she shot him in the... It's not like she killed him. Or even harmed him, really. They're basically friends now. I don't think it's gonna go how Richard thinks. But I guess we'll see. In Chinatown, in the middle of the night, there was a line of trucks. Okay, I kind of want to see Rose with a machine gun, though. Because I think it would be cool, but I don't necessarily want to see her shoot people. She could just have a machine gun as a treat. Use it on a wall or something. You know? Machine gun days. Yeah. A massive number of wooden boxes was being lowered from several trucks, and they formed a pile in the storehouse. These boxes were different from the ones used to transport the soy sauce that Rose had purchased with the Satomi Alliance. As a crowd of workers moved back and forth, Wang laughed in front of the pile, which now resembled a massive wall or a tsunami. I forgot the voice that I did for him already. So he's probably gonna sound different than last time. Sorry. Now this is the best part. Truly like the night before a big Kyushu landing raid. Are you talking about the wild beast strategy? Japan should be grateful for the disaster. Without that, at least Kyushu and everything south of it would be Chinese territory by now. Couldn't read that sentence for some reason. Wang looked at the pile of boxes as though it was a pile of weapons and gunpowder. It was a valid metaphor. After all, those boxes were certainly filled with shells that would be fired during the coming war with Primavera. Honored brother, preparations are proceeding according to your orders. Hey there, little May. Very good, very good. As you can see, we're at the best part. This is what it means to attack. Still, I'm surprised you managed to scrounge up this much. I can gather as much as I want and make as much as I want. Isn't that the greatest weapon we Chinese have? So, this is the way of war in the new era. By the way, honored brother, I hear that logistics businessman was captured by Primavera. That was faster than expected, huh? And I'd promised to introduce him to a place with some lovely girls. The same dude who was like, no, you can't kill me, I have a family. Typical. So, was he floating? I doubt he'd sink. I need to make an example. The Primavera I know wouldn't kill him. Though they might give him a good scolding. Oh, look what I've done. I'll have to show him a good time one of these days to make up for it. However, will this plan of yours really go well? What's wrong, little May? Are you really so uneasy about my plan? No, that wasn't my meaning. For a thick-headed, violent person like myself, your wise New World warfare seems to be hard to grasp. Oh, it's rare for you to say something like that. And I thought someone as wise as you would be just the person to understand my plan. I fear my knowledge is still no match for yours, honored brother. Meiju bowed deeply when he said this, but his gaze was sharp and challenging.
It was as though he was saying he'd wait and see just how well his plan of Wang's turned out. Wang noticed the second meaning. Before Wang had been given the post, Meiju had served the role of guarding of the South Gate with splendid plotting despite his young age. How old is Meiju? I want to know now, because they mentioned he was young. I don't think that's been mentioned before. Or I forgot. Thought he was like middle age, but mostly based on how he acts, you know? Look-wise, I would put him in like his 40s maybe? But it's hard to tell with like anime-style characters. Yeah, I would say Wang is 40s as well, so... and since he is older, Meiju being in his 30s, I guess, would make sense, but... most people wouldn't call that young. So now I'm thinking maybe he's even younger than that, in his like 20s or something. He just doesn't act like it. I don't know. I'm not sure we'll ever find out. Anyway, Wang didn't think him the sort of man to wag his tail for someone just because they had experience. Well, just you watch. I'm sure you'll be surprised. It will be a pleasure to see your talents at work. Since he was bowing his head, Meiju's eyes couldn't possibly be looking at Wang. However, both of them were exchanging a challenging gaze without looking at the other. Wang walked away, with the subordinates following. After waiting for their backs to disappear from sight, Meiju slowly raised his head. If one thing is certain, it's that someone will be surprised, honored brother. Let us hope that Primavera is the one. Damn that Wang Yuanhong taking control and leaving you out of it, boss. It's obvious he'll take credit if it works well against Primavera. We'll put all the blame on you if it fails. Let's wait and see if his plan goes well. That part included. Well, if Meiju's not worried, I'm not worried. If the plan Wang laid out goes smoothly, it's possible your life will be in danger eventually. True. He's an assassin sent against me. As you say, if it goes well, my honored brother will get the credit, and City 23's Chinatown will belong to him. And even if it does fail, it'll provide an excellent excuse to have me purged. No matter what happens, the Council of Elders will gain control of City 23's Chinatown. Shouldn't we leak information to Madame Rose? I think the ideal situation for us would be a state where Wang neither wins nor loses against Primavera. Meiju's underlings hesitated, unsure what he was laughing at. After laughing for a while, Meiju spoke, still gazing out the car window. All of you, and Wang too, you understand nothing about Primavera. No, about Madame Rose. Even if we don't stick our necks in, it won't go as my honored brother expects. If you say so, boss. If Meiju, their boss, was purged, they would be put in a much worse situation. They'd probably be absorbed by an organization outside the GDS, with their career wiped to a blank slate, the treatment they received plummeting as a result. Their fates were tied to Meiju. They couldn't hide their unease in having one take control, but they were forced to believe in the unwavering confidence of their boss. Come to think of it, how is Hoturabi doing? Today was the day she visited her dad.
That wasn't me feigning like Xiaolan not being able to talk. That was like me legit being unable to talk. I can relate. Her and me, we're the same.
She didn't come last month, but she came this month. Xiaolan was sitting next to Meiju. This whole time, she'd been sitting backwards, looking out for suspicious cars that might be following them. No one had ordered her to do that. As a girl who had survived in the alleys, she was more cautious than a stray cat. Ever since she started thinking of Meiju as a father and a brother, she had grown even more cautious, determined that nothing should harm him. Hoturabi, is it? The pitiable girl. How outrageous that the Council of Elders would spend money on such a disreputable product. What does that mean?
You know what? I could easily braid my hair like that. It wouldn't be as long, but I could do it.
Xiaolan moved her mouth as though talking quickly, but no sound came out. However, Meiju could instantly tell what she was saying by the movements of her lips. As a person who could read lips, Meiju was capable of communicating with Xiaolan more easily than anyone else. That's magnificent work. So, it would seem she was worth the high price. According to Xiaolan, Hoturabi had succeeded in achieving repeated success within Primavera, earning the trust of several central figures within it. She had even succeeded in forming personal relationships with Madame Rose, Richard, and Wayne. By Xiaolan's judgment, she might even be recommended to join Madame Rose's personal guard before too long. Just what the Council of Elders expected from her. Very impressive. Has Hoturabi been given any other missions besides approaching Primavera's inner circle? For now, no. Continue to observe Hoturabi for a while longer. However, if she's ordered to assassinate Madame Rose, let me know beforehand. Xiaolan wordlessly nodded her head. She felt sorry for Hoturabi? Have I been saying this wrong? I've been saying this wrong the whole time. What did I say? No, I said it correctly. I'm dumb. No, wait. What? Hold up. No, I've been saying it right. What is my brain doing right now? Anyway, I'm hallucinating errors that aren't there. Xiaolan felt sorry for Hoturabi. Yeah. Man, I'm doubting myself. Talking is difficult, okay? Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've been doing it fine. I just instantly started doubting myself. However, as a person who had lived alone in the alleys,
She thought Zell still had it better off to have a living father, even in such sad circumstances. That didn't mean Zell's grief-stricken psalms failed to tear Xiaolon's heart apart, though. Hotarubi had been purchased by the Council of Elders from a different organization. She was a Japanese assassin, fluent in Chinese. That would explain why she knows how to fight so well. This girl, who possessed both youth and beauty, appeared to be as fragile as her real name, Hotaru, which means firefly, implied. However, rumor told of the missions she had accomplished for countless organizations, and she was somewhat well known in the underworld of Tokyo's Chinatown. Her greatest weapon was the fact that she was Japanese. Though the Chinese and Americans were in control, there was still a considerable number of Japanese people living in Tokyo. American organizations usually didn't exist in Chinese-run districts. In nearly all cases, their business rivals were Japanese groups. There had been many cases of these groups gaining too much power to ignore, like Primavera, and becoming a roadblock to Chinese businesses. Hotaru was an exceptionally skilled assassin, capable of blending in with those groups and using both the weapons of women and weapons of death at once. Well, shit. I think that confirms that maybe the whole memory thing was just fake and a big setup from the start. And she really is that good at acting. Damn. At first, she had been sold to underworld bosses as a lovely pet. To them, having a more attractive woman as a mistress was a trophy, a status symbol. Even among that group, she had apparently been traded at a very high price. After all, she would bear anything, obey anything, in exchange for her father's safety. A woman that valuable was just perfect for a gift between bosses. She changed owners at an astounding rate, as she was used as a sign of friendship or a peace offering between underworld bosses. However, a certain Chinatown started using her as an assassin. Even the strongest of men let their guards down in front of women. They're particularly helpless when in bed. Hotaru looked as though she wouldn't hurt a fly. This girl, who'd been traded as the ultimate lady of the evening, had the makings of the ultimate assassin. She would do anything to ensure her father's safety. This girl, whose body even was owned by others now, didn't hesitate to dirty her hands with blood. The safety of her father, her last living relative, was guaranteed. The two of them were given a meal alone once a month. In exchange for nothing more than that, she became an assassin. When the Council of Elders bought Hotarubi, I have been saying it wrong, I think. Anyway, ignore that. It's been Hotarubi this whole time. I never said anything else. Meiju had been extremely wary. After all, he had suspected that she might be used against his own faction, which supported the GDS's previous leader. Because of that, He had sent Xiaolun to keep an eye on him. Later on, when he learned that she was being used to approach Primavera's inner circle, he had breathed a temporary sigh of relief. However, that didn't eliminate the possibility that she was a joker in their hand, capable of eliminating Meiju's connection with Rose, who was a powerful card in his own hand. Since Zell belonged to the Council of Elders, Wang was probably one of those holding her leash. In the war Wang planned to wage against Primavera, if Rose ever got in the way, there was a high likelihood that Wang would order her assassination. Interesting. I wonder what ideal move we can construct from this card. Cool rain chilled the city, which had been made hot with the soot and smoke from cars and factories. The soft sound of rainfall enveloped the nighttime city with silence. There were only a few people hurrying home now. There probably weren't many who'd want to drink and party on a night like this. Even downtown was as quiet as a funeral, and the glowing neon signs seemed lonely somehow. Zell had finally returned to the music shop. Then, a voice called to her from behind her back. It was Charles.
Zell, what are you doing walking around in this rain without an umbrella?
Charles.
Where have you been? Out this late without even leaving a note. We've all been searching for you, worried about you. Yeah, enough of that now. Let's get inside, quickly. Nina, bring her a towel, fast. We were so worried about you. Oh look, you're freezing. Oh, Oliver. Zell's back.
Apparently, Oliver had also been searching around. When Charles yelled out the front door, he came clambering in. Zell! Sheesh, you had us so worried. We thought something might have happened to you.
You don't look right. Did something happen? Sorry for making you worry. My errand dragged on a bit. Sorry. Zell.
Oliver and the others continued to stare at Zell with anxious, dubious gazes. After all, she was obviously not telling the truth. No amount of rain could hide those cheeks, red and swollen with tears.
Well, I don't know what happened. But if there's anything we can do to help, feel free to let us know.
Okay. Thanks.
No matter what happens, we'll always stick by our side, Zell. If you're worrying about something, talk to us about it whenever you like. We'll definitely be able to support you.
Zell, are we so unreliable? We four are the wandering dogs. No matter what happens, we'll never abandon one of our comrades. What happened? Tell us about it. Oliver and the others had realized that Zell was in some sort of tough situation. They wanted to support her from the bottom of their hearts. However, Zell couldn't accept those feelings of theirs. After all, she'd come here as an enemy of Primavera.
I'm really sorry. Please, everyone, there's really no need for you to worry. really, really glad you all feel that way. Thanks. I'll definitely be back to normal, starting tomorrow. So, when tomorrow comes, forget the miserable expression I wore tonight. Please. Zell. I'm going to go dry my hair. You all get some sleep. Thanks for staying up so late looking for me. Zell disappeared into the back. The other three just stood there, looking worried. I wonder. Maybe Zell's memory came back. I was thinking the same thing. And yet, she still came back to us. Yeah. Even though her memory came back, she still came back to us.
We're comrades. I won't let anything slide if it makes one of my comrades cry.
I feel the same. But Zell won't talk to us.
Is it because because we aren't reliable enough? Is that why she won't talk to us?
I'm sure that she thinks that talking about it won't accomplish anything. That girl's been living her life with a heavy burden, isn't she? You guys know why Zell grows her hair so long? Guess she probably is trying to hide that.
What do you mean, that?
Earlier, when Zell was being measured at the clothes shop, I saw it. Zell wouldn't ever choose to get such a creepy tattoo.
In the shower room, Zell was drying her long hair. Though it was normally so beautiful and elegant, it was now drenched and looked sad. She gathered it in front of her and covered it with a towel. On the exposed nape of her neck was a small, butterfly-themed tattoo. However, it wasn't the sort of cute image a butterfly brings to mind. It was an eerie mark, with human eyes drawn on the butterfly wings that made the viewer's instinctive fear of bugs send chills down their spine. Well, that shit wouldn't work on me because I love bugs. That's still kind of freaky though. Of course, it was in a place where Zell couldn't see. However, even without seeing it, she could tell its shape just by tracing her finger across it. She couldn't forget the pain of the needle, even if she wanted to. That tattoo was something a certain organization's boss used as his personal crest. He'd built a harem out of beautiful women he'd obtained as spoils of war that satisfied his petty desire to monopolize by giving them this tattoo. Originally, those butterflies were to be engraved all over Zell's back. However, the feud had broken out after only the first butterfly had been added. That boss was riddled with more bullets than the number of butterflies he'd ever tattooed on his women, while hanging on a crane. Because her master had died and her owner had changed, she was able to escape with only a single tattoo. Even now, when she thought about it, the pain of that repeatedly stabbing needle came back to her. It stung and ached. It wasn't just the pain of the needle.
The kind consideration shown by all the wandering dogs tormented her like a needle. I'm sorry, everyone. I'm not really one of your comrades. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Well, there's a mood whiplash. I am afraid I'm gonna have to cut it here though, despite the absolute downer note that we will be ending this on. Because my voice is giving out. And yeah, no, that's a good place to end. Oh no. It's getting sad. Oh no. And we're just starting too. This is the beginning of season 3. It's I think it's gonna be a rough one, I think. So prepare yourself for that one. I'll have to elaborate on some content warning stuff on this one, I think, as well. And yeah, no, that hey, good thing we got to learn a lot about Zelle's backstory. Bad thing, her backstory is really sad and awful, and it looks like this is gonna drag it on for a bit, and you know, she's gonna try and deal with everything by herself for a while, which she shouldn't really be doing. I mean, I get why. I get where it comes from, obviously. But it's gonna be rough. Yeah. No, yeah, no, this is, concerning. Sorry, I just noticed the layering issue in my avatar. It's fine. I don't even know what to say. Normally I have stuff to say when we're done, but, if I could manage physically, I would keep reading. But, that just means that next time, it's gonna be, you know, I'm looking forward to next time. That's what that means. I have a long day and time. I also hope that she doesn't become a bad person. I don't think she would become a bad person. I don't think she has it in her necessarily. But she could definitely do some bad things, and I regret them a lot. Which is almost as bad, really. But I guess we'll see. I'm looking forward to next week and finding out more, and yeah. It looks like Meiju maybe has big plans, and his big plan is, here's my theory, right? My theory is his big plan is to not do anything at all. He's just not, he's gonna keep an eye on things and maybe step in if he has to, like absolutely has to. But it seems like he's just gonna let things run their course and be like, well, Primavera will probably be fine. That was the vibe I was getting, and I kind of love that because it's so rare for like the cunning, scheming characters to be like, this situation doesn't need me.
You know, because they're always like, characters like that are always way up in the situation, interfering. And it's sometimes, I say frequently, but I mean, in some cases they just make it worse with their scheming and plotting. And for him to be like, well, I guess let's see what, we'll wait and see what Primavera's reaction to all this is. We'll see how it goes. That's actually great. I love it. I hope he does nothing and wins, because, yeah, I've gotten attached to him, so I want him to do well now. With minimal effort. Staying out of it is, you know, that's effort, in a way. We'll see. But yeah, that's gonna be it for me for today. We'll be back next week. Still working on those YouTube uploads. It's taking a little longer than expected. Mostly because I forgot. I'll get back into it, I swear. But you'll see those when they go up, assuming that you're subscribed. And if you're not, then well, you're probably not watching them anyway, so it doesn't. All right. Let me just turn that off, turn our music up. Alright. I will see you next time, which will be next Thursday at the usual time on Twitch. Some mysterious future date on YouTube. Who knows? Who knows when that will be? I don't. But it'll be soon, I promise. And yeah. In the meantime, you know how this goes by now. Have a good day, have a good night, have a good week. Have a good space-time continuum, I don't know. I'm running out of things to say. I make these up on the spot, so some are better than others. A good YouTube uploading session, thank you. I'm gonna need it. Alright. As always, thank you for watching, thank you for being here, thank you for being in the chat, or watching the VODs, whichever applies. I will see you again next time. Thanks again. Bye-bye.